Hi everybody, my name is Fred. Welcome to Personal Time Outdoors. This video is going to be the debrief or companion video to the one on my channel featuring our camp out at Chickagami Park near Parkman, Ohio. My goal here is to give you tips and information in case you would like to go camping at Chickagami Park yourself. Starting off with the reservations for the campsites can be made online at the Chickagami Park's website. I'll leave a link to their website in the description below. One thing to note, when you do make a reservation, there is a 7-day lockout period, meaning you are not allowed to reserve a campsite any sooner than the next 7 days. At the time of filming, the rates were $10 per night if you're a Chickagami County resident and $20 per night if you live outside the county. I can tell you that the park has always been very quiet in my experience. I've never had any issues with rowdy campers or anybody being disruptive. It's very suitable for families, or if you have a scout group, it would be suitable for that as well. In fact, it did, as I mentioned in the video, the location did used to be a Boy Scout camp. It was called Camp Chickagami. It's since been converted to a park, but they do still allow you to camp there. One thing to note, alcohol is prohibited in the park. As for water, I do recommend that you bring plenty of drinking water with you. There is a spigot on one of the service buildings there where you can get water, but it is definitely well water and it has an extremely strong mineral smell and taste. It's definitely not something you'd probably want to drink or cook with. You could use it for cleaning up or washing dishes though. Looking at the park map here, one thing that I do want to point out is that the road that takes you around the park to get to all of the campsites is a one-way road that travels clockwise in this direction here. So what happens is when you come into the park's main entrance off of Tavern Road here, you are going to end up in this main parking lot. What you want to do is you want to travel to the far end of the parking lot so that you can pick up that road right at this point here. One thing I want to point out is the location of the two latrines here and here. So one of them is next to group site A and the other one is next to group site B. And note that no matter which campsite you use in the park, you are expected to use one of those two latrines. Those are the only two that are there. The water spigot that I was telling you about is on this small service building here, and it's kind of on the front side of that building facing the parking area. The three group campsites are group site A, B, and L, which are right here. So if you are reserving for a large group, a scout group or something like that, those are going to be your three options. In my opinion, group site B is probably the nicest one. You can't tell on the map here, but there's a tree line right in this area here that does afford you some privacy. A close second is probably site A. But you do have a little less privacy here because along this main road here, there's really nothing that is a divider. There's a few trees, but that's about it. Group site L is different than the other two in that it does not have any tent pads or a lean-to shelter. It's just kind of a grassy area that has a picnic table and a fire ring. So if you have a lot of tents, that's probably the only location in the park where you are allowed to set up tents on the grass. But keep in mind that you're going to be completely exposed there and you're going to be in the sun all day long because there's really no shade at that campsite. The only other campsite that I would like to point out here is campsite M, which is right here. And it is different from the other campsites in the park in that it is not along the main road like all of these here. This is actually a hiking trail here. Now campsite M does give you some privacy because you are a little bit off the road here, but keep in mind that you are not going to be able to drive your vehicle right up to it to unload, so you are going to have to carry your camping gear to get to it. Speaking of parking, the only other thing I would like to mention is that they do not allow you to park on this road. So you are allowed to drive around your campsite to unload your gear. And some of the campsites do have like a small little area where you can pull off and park a vehicle, but not all of them do. So if your campsite does not have a spot to park cars, you are expected to return it to the main parking area here overnight. Now, if you are staying at campsite B, group campsite B, There is a this area here, it looks like a road on this map, but it's actually blocked. So you can park about 3 vehicles right here. You may have seen that in my video. If you see the 3 cars parked, this is the location where they were parked at. And the only other thing that I want to mention about parking is that you do need to have a parking permit on the dashboard of your car, and you will get that parking permit when you get your email back with your reservation. You can just print it out, and you are supposed to have a copy of it on each vehicle in your group. I'd also like to add that the maintenance in the park is excellent. The park staff seems to do a very good job of keeping that place very clean and tidy. Every time I've camped there, I have seen park staff come through to check the latrines daily. They make sure that there's a supply of toilet paper there and hand sanitizer, and they make sure it's still clean. Also, from time to time, you will see rangers patrolling the area, so it is a very safe place to camp. One thing to note about the tent pads that you see in the video, this has never happened to me, but I have heard from other campers that if the rangers see that you've set your tents up on the grass instead of the tent pads, they may come and ask you to move it. Finally, I would just like to mention that there is a sizable Amish population that lives in that area, so when you're driving to and from the camp, you do have to be careful and watch out for their buggies on the roads. If you have any questions about Chickagami Park, or if there's anything I may have forgotten, please feel free to leave those in the comments. Thanks for watching.